to day 2 of our Seuss-tastic STEAM Challenge week. Hi, I'm Jamie Hand, creator of Preschool STEAM, and tonight I am sharing 2 activities inspired by one of our favorite Dr. Seuss books, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. And so tonight I will be taking you through 2 different activities that incorporate science, technology, engineering, art, and math all within our activities tonight. Now, in order to get the full written tutorial, so if you want to not only watch it tonight on the video, but then also receive our written tutorial, be sure to sign up for our email list and you will get sent the link to sign up for the articles tonight. Wait, I think I said that wrong. Let me back up a minute. I'm going to put the link to sign up in the comments below after this video is done being live. So once this video is done being live, I will put the link in the comments. You can click on that. That will sign you up for our email list, and you can get on the list and catch up with yesterday's activity and see the written activities for tonight. Okay, so as I said, we are talking about One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish tonight. But first, let's just revisit what we did yesterday because I want to show you. We left out our Cat in the Hat slime hat. We left it out overnight and all day just to see what would happen. We were curious. And so you can see it created real interesting textures, and the red and white slime did mix together all on its own. And it's actually created a really cool texture too, which is fun to touch. And the bottom part is still a little squishy like slime, but what's even cool is you can still peel it off the plate. And that's why I said to use a coated paper plate, and it can still just peel right off. So we're gonna just kind of keep it out, see what happens. So that was from yesterday's activity. Once again, if you want to catch up, just get on, sign up for our email list so that you can get the email and catch up. But tonight, as I said, we are talking about fish. And our first activity, we actually were inspired by one of our STEAM Kids collaborators, Anne over at Left Brain, Craft Brain. And she did this Facebook video on using a dry erase marker and water to make a drawing of a stick man dance. It's actually very cool. And I will put a link to her video in the comments after this video is over. So we saw that video and were inspired to try it for our activity tonight. Now, the good news is the first time we tried this activity, it worked every single time we did it. I did it with my own children. We tested it out and it worked perfectly. Then earlier today, I went to try the activity again so I could get some photographs of it, and it did not work for me. So it's a true science experiment in that will it work on live video. So let's hoping that this activity will work tonight so that you can see it in full action. But it really is a great experience in working with your children of how not every activity always turns out. And so what are things we can do to change it to make it work? Okay, so let me go ahead and show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and move the camera, so you may want to divert your eyes for a minute as I move the camera down to the table surface. And just making sure the camera's secure so it doesn't fall into any water. Okay, so for this activity, we are actually going to make a floating fish that can swim. That's right, a floating fish that can swim. And we are simply going to use a plate, a dry erase marker, and a cup of water. So I have all of the materials with me. And the first thing we're going to do is actually draw our fish on the plate. Now, you want to make sure you start with a good solid circle shape. So I'm going to draw my fish, and I make sure that you fill in the circle completely. I know sometimes, especially with our younger children, we have to remind them to color it in all the way. And then I'm just going to add a simple triangle to the back for my fish. You don't want to make it too elaborate. Keep it simple. Basic shapes, circle, triangle, and you have your fish. Now, I have learned in my experience today, because it didn't always work, is that I'm going to let the ink dry a little bit. I'm just going to blow on it, let it dry, and now I'm going to take my cup of water and I'm going to carefully pour the water near the fish, but not on it. So once again, I'm going to pour the water right by the fish, but not exactly on it. And I hope you can see on camera that it actually now, I'll try to zoom in here, the ink has separated from the plate. Now, the reason it does this is inside the dry erase marker, there is actually a silicone polymer. And I've learned this from, like I said, Left Brain, Craft Brain. And because of that, it doesn't like the water, so it actually separates. So that's kind of the science behind it. And then what's fun is with your students is to actually take a straw and make the fish swim around the plate. So you can make the fish move and swim. Now this is actually a real simple idea, but it's definitely a wow factor. Now, as I mentioned, I'm so glad it worked here on live video, but I did have some trouble earlier today that it did not work every single time. One thing we learned is that a new dry erase marker works better than an old one. So that's a variable that you can experiment with. And we learned that the red marker works the best. Not really sure why, but our red dry erase marker worked better than our other colors. So if it doesn't work, you can then change an experiment, ask the children, get them involved in the process. Say, why do you think, what else can we change? So that is our first activity. And my camera's giving me messages. Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to go on to our second one. And what is fun about this book is obviously the illustration of the fish. And this is where, after reading the book with the children, you can compare and contrast the fish in the book compared to real live photographs of fish. You can talk about how they're similar, how they're different, and really get the children involved in what they observe about the illustrations compared to the different pictures of real fish. Then after you've had the discussion about that, then you can have the children actually go ahead and draw and paint their own fish. And obviously my background comes more from the art side, and so I always encourage the children that they can make their fish how they want. If they want big eyes or a smiley face, I just let them get creative. Now, to draw our fish, we started first with the circle shape, then we talked about adding a shape for the tail, and then for the fins we talked about eyes and gills and the different body parts that a fish has. So here's an example. Here's another example. We drew on watercolor paper, and then we used liquid watercolors to paint the fish. Then once they were dried, then we cut them out. So we drew the fish, painted it, let it dry, then cut it out. Now, if you work with the really young crowd, here is my 2-year-old, and this is where I simply drew the outline for her, and then she painted over it. And so she was excited to have a fish as well. So that's another modification you can make, is actually have a fish already pre-drawn so that a younger child could just paint over. And of course, experimenting with the colors, the way they dried created some really fantastic patterns. And the way the colors mix together is obviously another science extension you can bring in right as the child is creating. All right, so the fun part, once you have your fish cut out, then you can make your water. And here is our water. So we talked about different ways of what we could do to represent water, and this is more like than a sensory bin. We have different color gems, and we have different colored pebble rocks. We got all of this, I believe, from Dollar Tree. We love the dollar store. So it didn't cost, I think this whole thing costs $3. And it's in then a big plastic container. Now, once again, if you work with young children and you can't really have the small items, or you work with children that still put them in their mouth, then another solution would be to tear up different colored paper and create that into your water. Now we are going to go fishing for our fish. So what I have done is just simply added a paper clip onto the fish, and you can then add them to your water, and then we can go fishing. We have this magnetic pole, and this is actually from a puzzle, I believe a Melissa and Doug puzzle, but you could make your own by getting a stick, string, and then hot glue 2 magnets together at the end of the string. So you could make your own very easily that way, and then let your children explore by trying to go fishing and get the fish. Now what's interesting is at first they have to learn that they have to get the magnet right onto the paper clip before they can get the fish. And so sometimes if they haven't done an activity like this before, it may take them a little bit to figure out that they have to get it to the paper clip. And that's something, let the children explore. Don't give the answer away right away. Let them explore. And then mine also discovered that you can try to pick up 2 fish. Let's see, can I do it right now? Oh, there we go. So now we got 2 fish onto our fishing pole. And then if your children really get into the finding out magnetic, then let them figure out what other type of objects can we put into the bin and fish out. So this activity, if you see that your students are interested, you can really extend it and continue the student learning. So what other things could we put in, or objects, that we could then fish out like our fish? Okay, so I'm going to move the camera again, just a warning, back to me. And I always like to try to keep these videos real quick so that I don't take up your whole evening. Oh, and I'm so glad Lisa says she's watching. Thank you for watching, Lisa. And in the comments below, it's not too late. If you have a favorite Dr. Seuss book, go ahead, put it in the comments, and then we still have a few days left in our series that I will try to add in your favorite book and come up with a challenge. So once again, in order to get all the written out instructions and tutorials for the activities that I have shown tonight, you'll need to make sure you're on our email list. If you've already signed up, you're good, you're in, you'll get the email later tonight. I'll send it off after I finish this video. But if you haven't signed up, do that. Link will be in the comments. And of course, if you have any questions about anything that I have shown here tonight or in general about STEAM, go ahead, ask those in the comments. I am here to help you integrate STEAM into your classroom. All right, thanks for watching.